Good morning to all of you. I'm delighted to be speaking to you at the 2025 CISAC General Assembly in Sofia. And I am sorry I can't join you in person today. I have now been president of CISAC for 5 years. I have learned so much about the value of CISAC and its hundreds of member societies. I came into this role with a passion to do what I could to help creators bring more fairness and make their livelihoods more sustainable. Today, none of that passion has diminished. On the contrary, it is stronger now at a time when the issues CISAC is facing are far more serious than even just a few years ago. CISAC's mission is about serving creators, not only in the face of AI and digital challenges. Our job is fighting for creators' rights across every channel and revenue stream where creative works are used. Our jobs are to be the guardians of value. As an artist and songwriter, my career has been founded on copyright. But today, in many countries of the world, creators who would aspire to a successful career are simply unable to do so. Many of these countries do not take copyright seriously. Enforcement is not a priority, and authorities are not encouraged or resourced to enforce copyright effectively. So we know there is a lot to discuss about AI, but there are other big issues as well. And these are especially relevant here in our host country, Bulgaria. This country has so much creative talent and so much potential to develop a thriving creative sector. I know CISAC's member societies, MUSICAUTHOR and FilmAuthor, have been working hard to bring positive change. They advocate, quite simply, for an adequate legal framework that the creators require if they are to sustain a livelihood. I take this opportunity to thank all those policymakers who are working to improve the legal framework in Bulgaria. But I am aware that there are serious problems to fix. Much more action is needed by the government to bring Bulgaria into line with European and international standards. This is the time for the government to take the lead with legal reforms. For example, it should take action to ensure there are fair tariffs for broadcasts and hospitality venues, provide fair reward to the creators whose work they use. It should take measures to ensure audiovisual creators are paid for works transmitted on digital networks. And it should take action to introduce an effective system of private copying remuneration. This is an important income source for creators, and one which is paid in many countries in the region, but not in Bulgaria. CISAC societies want to help address these issues and work in collaboration to bring real concrete change in the near future. Having set that scene, there is no doubt that for the global CISAC community, AI is the #1 issue facing us today. It is breathtaking how this issue has come to consume and dominate CISAC's agenda in the space of just 2 years. AI tools are getting better and smarter by the day. Investment and revenues in the tech sector are skyrocketing. And governments are getting ever closer to making legislative decisions that will have a profound impact on our sector's future. 2 years ago, at the Mexico City General Assembly, I made a keynote speech highlighting two vital priorities that we should all get behind in our approach to AI. First, I proposed we must have clear, agreed principles for the oncoming debate with policymakers and negotiations with AI operators. These form the three key priorities that are the anchor of our position. That AI training must be subject to clear transparency rules. That creators must be able to license their own works, and that remuneration of creators must be guaranteed remuneration. My second call to action was that creators must have a voice at the negotiating table. It is not enough to agree on the lobbying strategies and legal submissions. We must get them out so that everyone with an influential role in this historic moment of decision should hear them. Those priorities, key principles, and a voice at the table are still key to our work, but the challenges are getting more complex. 12 months on, at last year's General Assembly in Seoul, we were seeing the emergence of concrete legislative proposals. As so often in policy making around culture, Europe has played a leading role. The AI Act, adopted in 2023, included a welcome focus on transparency obligations for AI operators, a focus we now most vitally need not to be watered down. And now, here we are at the General Assembly of 2025. The world of AI and copyright continues to change at a breathtaking pace. Many countries are considering policy and legislative amendments in response to AI. These are now on the negotiating table. This is the moment where we must seize the initiative and make ourselves heard. In December last year, I helped CISAC launch its new global economic study commissioned by PMP Strategy on the impact of AI in the music and audiovisual sectors. This has been a vital lobbying tool for us. It shows that our arguments are concrete and measurable, showing the likely income losses to creators that would come from a badly regulated AI environment. I have been drawn into the debating chambers at the government level as well. In the UK, I was invited to meet Science and Technology Minister Peter Kyle, who is responsible for Britain's review of AI and copyright, and many parliamentarians. Here we have found a country at a crossroads, caught between a strong creative industry and a government drawn to the dangerous misconception. The misconception that enforcing creators' rights is not the solution that will help AI, but that the problem that stands in the way of it. The UK is not alone in that view, of course. There are other countries which, in varying degrees, are looking to legislate on a misguided assumption that copyright must be weakened in order to create the investment conditions and realize the economic potential of new technology. This is the measure of our challenge. But despite this, I was heartened by our 2 days of meetings in London. It appears the government now understands better the vital importance of creators' rights and will hopefully moderate its proposals. We are seeing how a united voice, a strong coalition led by artists and creators, can positively move the needle of government opinion. And that brings us to the present and the priorities ahead of us. First, we have to make it clear that we are in favor of and not against AI. Music, film, visual arts, dance, theater, all these and other repertoires have been drivers and leaders in technology through history. Too often the creators in these sectors are misrepresented as followers of technology. But in fact, it is the creators, risk-taking and entrepreneurial, who are very often the inspiration for technology innovations. The truth is that young creators are using AI. They are not afraid of it. What they are afraid of is losing their livelihoods and careers. All we are asking from policymakers is that creators' rights are not cast aside in a visionless, misguided rush to claim supremacy in the AI world. This approach won't work. It will undermine the foundations of the creative sector and stop the livelihoods of creators. And equally, it will not deliver economic benefits for the tech society or our wider societies. Second, we must continue to press home to all policymakers in our countries the trilogy of core principles: transparency, licensing, and remuneration. This is particularly critical in the EU right now. Europe gave us the AI Act 2 years ago. And we held it up as potentially the gold standard for obligations on transparency. Today, there is a worrying suggestion of backtracking from this position. That is why last week I was in Brussels urging the EU's policy leaders and MEPs to stay true to the achievements of the AI Act as it was adopted in February 2023. So the campaign goes on, and it's exciting and scaring at the same time. There is an enormous education and advocacy exercise that needs to be done by CISAC across our global network. And let's not forget CISAC with SIAM alongside it. The voices of the creators is uniquely positioned to lead this effort. Our message has to be, bring on the AI revolution, one that stays true to creators' rights. AI may steal the headlines when it comes to CISAC's advocacy work, but there is another project that is moving steadily ahead that is also of tremendous value to creators. It is the reform of CISNET. Upgrading CISNET, the system that underpins data exchange between societies, may be a less sexy topic than AI, but it is just as relevant to the rights and remuneration of creators and to the ability of CMOs to do their job. Before I go on, a confession. You may think you see here a famous musician and songwriter, but I have to admit that what really fires me up these days is data. I'm passionate about data, and I'm obsessed with making collective management data better and more efficiently. Because data is about money in the pockets of creators. And this is one of the biggest challenges the CISAC network has faced for many years. What excites me is that CISNET 2.0 truly has the potential to meet society's data needs, and it leverages the global strength of CISAC. It has been a complex journey so far. First, there was the transfer of the system from Fast Track to CISAC. Then has to be the configuring of a project that will deliver something at a different level in terms of efficiency and accuracy. CISNET 2.0 is a sensible, practical shift from a system of linked local databases to a single, reliable and trustworthy central global database. The technology work that CISAC does on the ISWC, CISAC and other projects is so vital and quite literally determines the economic well-being of millions of creators. Yet sometimes, because it is complex, the project and its benefits to creators are not sufficiently understood or visible to our members. I want to help with that during the rest of my term as CISAC president. I am delighted to support CISNET work as it takes flight and becomes implemented in the next few years. That brings me to the end of this short speech. I remain passionately committed to my role at CISAC. I am always happy to do what I can to open doors, persuade policymakers, and support your advocacy. Thank you to CISAC and thank you to all member societies represented here today. I wish you an excellent General Assembly and Creators' Day. Thank you.
Thank you to our President, Björn Ulvaeus. And now it's my great pleasure to invite the chairman of our host society, MUSICAUTHOR, Iassen Kozev, to give his opening remarks. Iassen, please.
Yeah. Hello, dear friends and honorable colleagues, honorable directors. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you today. And as a chairman of the Bulgarian Society, and of course as an artist, I say thank you for your trust. And thank you for being here in person and for being ready to not just exchange ideas, but to address the problem of the artists on global scale. For the past 12 years, I have been chairman of MUSICAUTHOR Bulgaria. And during this time, me and my colleague, we have achieved a lot that we can be proud of. We put ourselves on the world map, made the transition to the new era, we can say, and initiate more than a few difficult conversations. For us, the fact that you choose Bulgaria to host this meeting means a lot because we have always felt part of the world great artists, although we were deprived of the opportunity to develop ourselves the same pace as other countries in the world. I'm proud of everything we managed to create for the great Bulgarian artists. And here we are again in interesting time, of course, a time when origin and affiliation no longer matters as before. Now, more than ever, it is exceptionally important to meet, converse, and build together the common future of the artists worldwide. Our local problems of yesterday no longer mean much given the big picture in which we all have one single role, and this is to be together. The world is changing before our eyes, and the new possibilities of technology make this change one of our most important tasks, of course. Soon the creative industry will face very, very, very difficult competition, not among themselves, but with technology. I believe that if we use our common resources, we will see the moment when art created by humans will become the most valuable art, of course. I welcome you with a request to use this little time we have here together to connect in new ways and find new paths toward each other. Thank you very much. And now I will kindly invite General Director Gadi Oron to start the General Assembly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Iassen. Thank you for inviting us. We're very happy to be here. And before I speak, it is a very great pleasure to invite the chairman of the CISAC board and my very good friend, Marcelo Castello Branco, to give his last speech as chairman of the board of CISAC. Marcelo, please.
Thank you, Gadi. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Well, first and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude and extend my sincere thanks to the local society, MUSICAUTHOR, for graciously hosting this event. Today, we gather here in Sofia, Bulgaria, and it's important that following major General Assemblies led by some of the most prominent members, Sacman and Conca, we now have the opportunity to honor a smaller society in a smaller market. This decision underscores our recognition of the vital role that smaller members play in the global network. Local societies, such as MUSICAUTHOR and FilmAuthor, may be small, but they face immense challenges in developing their markets and protecting their creators. It's essential to acknowledge the importance of these smaller societies within our network and help them accelerate their time frame for consolidation. Not every market is big, and not every society has the luxury of a long history. However, our strength is increasingly rooted in a global presence. Small and medium-sized societies are crucial in ensuring that creators' works are protected everywhere in the world. I know that by heart, coming from Latin America, as I do. As we look over the global situation, we observe a landscape where political instability prevails almost everywhere, and rapid technological changes like AI and these potential threats emerge overnight. Yet, as a community dedicated to protecting creators, we must navigate these challenges with a long-term vision. Our experience has shown us that while technology may evolve, the role of creators in society and their contributions to culture and the economy remain steadfast and essential. The only way for us to stay relevant is to be more efficient. Let's not fool ourselves. Siding together, like we are here today, is the only way to guarantee we safeguard that, this very lifeline of our mission here. And the place to do that, no doubt about it, is at CISAC. What we are all witnessing now is the beginning of a new chapter, the chapter of AI, one that extends far beyond digital and everything we have ever faced before. We know nothing yet, haven't seen nothing yet. Sounds like a song that I like very much. We are still living in the early days. There's so much to come ahead. We should neither overestimate nor underestimate. No fear, but know that years never. We must adapt, embrace flexibility, and stand true to our values. In these turbulent times, unity and the global message are paramount. CISAC has taken a leading role addressing the challenges posed by AI and has been proactive in spearheading technology projects that prepare us for the future. I also would like to thank Björn, unfortunately he's not here today, for his invaluable efforts in lobbying across the UK and the EU, ensuring our collective voice is heard where it matters most. Our team at CISAC has worked tirelessly to participate in discussions about AI across several countries over the past years. The work done on CISNet is particularly noteworthy. This initiative looks for the future and will empower us all to perform better, collect more, and distribute it more effectively. As I step down after 6 years as chair, I'm filled with gratitude for the journey that began in 2019 in Tokyo at a beautiful General Assembly hosted by JASRAC. I remember that. The world has changed dramatically since then, and so has the role of the CISAC's chair. My focus has been on helping the Secretariat adapt, streamline operations, and embrace new priorities, including managing board meetings virtually, a format that we are not used at that time. During my term, I was the lucky one, we had to face the pandemic. What a nightmare. Well, you know, much more than the business nightmare, life nightmare for us all. We successfully maintained the work without disruption and dedicated a significant amount of time to a strategic process to design the future we are living now. I also want to thank my fellow board members, especially my two vice chairs, Jennifer Brown from SOCAN and Patrick Roth from SACD, for their trust and support over the years, as well as the dedicated Secretariat team, including the regional directors, but especially Gadi, thank you, Gadi, whose tireless work has driven our projects forward in Paris and beyond. The past 6 years have flown by, and my perspective on CISAC has undergone a profound evolution during my tenure as chair. I still remember one of my first board meetings when I honestly knew very little about many things. Someone in the room asked what was the most crucial value of CISAC. And our colleague from ASCAP, Elizabeth Matthews, she was here, replied with her usual authority. The network. Let me tell you, she was 100% right. This is a job as chair that I did not take lightly. However, it gave me a profound and intense understanding of who we are and what we are here for, to protect and represent all creators, to work 24/7 on behalf of the wisdom, magic, and power. And I was so honored to do so. Honestly, I consider this a gift, not simply a job. Thank you all, and let's continue to work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcelo. And let me now take this opportunity again to thank all of you, everyone who's here with us in Sofia, everyone who's watching the live stream. We have many people watching it on Zoom. I would also like to thank our hosts, MUSICAUTHOR and their chairman, Iassen Kozev, and the CEO, Ivan Dimitrov. And let me also thank the two CISAC vice presidents who are with us here today, Kazuhiko Fukuoji from Japan and Arturo Marquez from Mexico. Yvonne Chaka Chaka is on her way. She will arrive for the dinner tonight, and she will be here tomorrow for the Creators Day. And unfortunately, Angeles Gonzalez Sinde wanted to be here, but she's just shooting a film, and they had the change in the production timeline, so she had to cancel at the last minute, but she sends her apologies. We are delighted to be here in Sofia for this General Assembly. This is actually the first CISAC General Assembly to take place in Bulgaria. And we are also meeting here just a few days after the official Day of Bulgarian Culture and Education. That was last Saturday on the 24th of May. It is a day that marks not only culture, but also the creation of the Cyrillic alphabet, that has its origins here in Bulgaria. Bulgaria is home to one of Europe's ancient cultures, and it has more than 1,300 years of history that has left an extraordinary cultural legacy. But it's not just about history and the past here in Bulgaria. It is a country that has rich and vibrant creative sectors today: literature, theater, music, and audiovisual. Arts and culture play a big role in everyday life here. You know this just by walking around this city. There is a street here, it's called the Georgi Rakovsky Street, that has rows of theaters which were once described by USA Today and many others as Sophia's Broadway. Sofia is also a hot location for shooting Hollywood productions. It featured in many films, TV series, music videos from artists like Dua Lipa or Depeche Mode. And also Bulgaria has a unique music scene. The famous female singers group that is known as the Mystery of the Bulgarian Voices. The Mystery of the Bulgarian Voices won Grammy Awards and were adopted by many famous pop stars and rock stars like George Harrison, Kate Bush, Paul Simon, and many others who involved them in their recordings. CISAC has always had an excellent relationship with the local societies here, MUSICAUTHOR and FilmAuthor. They both have been working hard in a small market that has many challenges, but also a lot of potential. Unlocking this potential isn't easy, but to support these two societies and together with them, CISAC has developed an action plan to strengthen this market and to enhance our members' operations here. Let me now turn to our priorities and what is driving CISAC's agenda today. Last year, we had a spectacular General Assembly in Seoul. Many of you were there. And naturally, the topic that dominated our discussions there was artificial intelligence. Even though it's only been 12 months since we met in Seoul, the volume of work around artificial intelligence has been more than enough to fill a couple of years. CISAC has been lobbying governments all over the world on AI. We were directly involved in legislative reviews in more than 20 countries. As part of our lobbying efforts, we also issued last December the first global economic study on the impact of AI, a study that provided important analysis and showed in real numbers what is at stake. Since its publication, this study is helping us to better explain to governments, to legislators, and to other decision makers the urgent need to protect creators against the rise of generative AI. Preparing this study was a huge task, so I would like to take this opportunity and thank all of the societies and the many individuals who supported this project, who participated in the workshops, and provided their input. As part of our lobbying on AI, we of course involve creators. And one country where the voice and influence of creators was particularly evident is the UK, where the government is now considering an exemption for commercial text and data mining. On the last day of this public consultation on the government's proposal, a huge campaign was launched. It was on the front cover of every newspaper and all over social media. CISAC was very active in this campaign, and our president, Björn Ulvaeus, quickly became a central figure in the creative community's push against this government proposal. It is not easy for us to win this fight when we are facing powerful, deeply funded, and very well-connected tech companies. But so far, at least in the UK, so far it has been a success, and the pressure from the creative sector has forced the UK government to rethink its plans. Another place where a lot is happening on AI and where we've been lobbying with the creators is the European Union. Björn mentioned that in his opening speech. Just last week, we had the CISAC and CISAC delegation led by Björn, who together with creators from France, Spain, and Poland, gave a strong message about the need for transparency and respect for copyright. Meetings were organized with the highest possible levels, with the President of the European Parliament, with the Cabinet of the President of the European Council, and of course with the European Commission. When we were there in these meetings, we understood the enormous amount of pressure that comes from the technology sector on this issue of AI, and it made us understand also why it is crucial that we are forceful in our lobbying. It is probably not the last time that we find ourselves fighting the corner for creators and reminding governments that they should not sacrifice our sector. But it is also not the first time that we prove to ourselves that the best way to do it is to lobby together with our most powerful spokespersons, the creators themselves. And I'm sure it will not come as a surprise to any of you if I say that without Björn, we would have never been able to access the people we've met and that level of attention from the EU institutions. Another issue that I would like to mention that forced itself on the CISAC agenda recently is the fraudulent registration of works, including works created using AI. In the last 12 months, we've heard of cases where individuals took advantage of artificial intelligence to create thousands of songs and then using stream manipulation, also put large amounts of money in their pockets. These royalties, which in one case in the US exceeded $10 million, were taken out of a pool of royalties that would have been otherwise distributed to human creators. So it was an alarm bell for us that it's time to take action to introduce tools and solutions to reduce AI-assisted fraud. This important task has been carried out by CISAC Inaccurate Works Registration Task Force. The first step of that task force was to prepare a best practice that we called Know Your Customer. This best practice was reviewed later by lawyers from the Legal and Policy Committee and also by members of the Music Repertoire Group. It was later approved by the board and then presented to you for adoption as a binding resolution. I'm pleased to say that it had overwhelming support and was adopted by the General Assembly in the online voting that took place last week. And in a few minutes, we will disclose all the results of the voting from last week. But going back to this binding resolution, I have no doubt that it will contribute significantly to a safer environment for us and, of course, for your affiliates. And we are continuing to examine other solutions and other options and other tools to reduce fraud and specifically to tackle AI-assisted fraud. And you will hear a lot about that later today. On the technology front, CISAC's big priority is the major upgrades to our systems, to SysNet. I'm very pleased to say that this project has made a huge step forward in the past year. At the Seoul General Assembly, you may remember that we announced that the ownership of SysNet had been transferred to CISAC and that as of January last year, so as of January 2024, we were operating the network. CISAC was operating SysNet. The first thing that happened once we took over is that the costs of running SysNet have been reduced significantly. The second thing that happened is that we've launched a very active work plan on developing a new vision for SysNet. That vision was eventually adopted by the board at its meeting in December last year, December 2024. And since then, it has been in motion. We've commissioned an external company to start building the new SysNet for us. We call it SysNet 2. And this new system will be based on a central database that will eliminate duplications and inefficiencies that we have in the current system, will deliver faster data exchanges, and will provide real-time updates. You will hear much more about SysNet 2 very soon, but I would like just to say that I'm very proud of this project, and I have no doubt that once it is completed, it will become a central element of the services that CISAC offers to its members. We also continue to engage partners across the value chain on the ISWC. more societies, more publishers, and more DSPs are using our services around the ISWC identifier. Nearly 80 million ISWC codes have already been assigned by societies, and just last year, 8 million ISWCs were assigned. We now have 15 publishers, including all the major ones who are regularly using the allocation service and the resolution service, two services that we've developed and designed specifically for the publishers community. And we also continue to onboard more digital services and allow them automated access to ISWC codes and metadata. And as of last year, we are also working with record labels to assign codes directly to them, and in doing that, to bring the ISWC and the ISRC codes together at the point of release of a song. Moving to our membership, I'm pleased to report to you that CISAC continues to grow its global network. We have important updates this year. First, I'm very glad to welcome the MLC from the US to our membership. The MLC is a fairly new society. They were only set up in 2019 after the adoption of the Music Modernization Act to license mechanical rights to digital services in the US. Since then, since they were established in 2019, the MLC have grown rapidly. They've already collected and distributed more than $2.5 billion. And just last year, they collected more than 1.2 billion. So we are very happy to welcome this new society to CISAC. I would also like to welcome VG-Vote, and VG-Vote we're welcoming back to CISAC. VG-Vote is one of the biggest audiovisual societies in the world, and for many years they were not a CISAC member. So we are delighted to have them back as our member, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Patrick Ward from SACD for helping us to bring them back on board. Speaking of audiovisual societies, I'm very pleased that we have today, in addition to VG-Vote, no less than 6 other new members from the audiovisual repertoire. 3 of them come from Asia, from Japan, from Korea, and from India, which are all important and very big markets for film and TV productions. It's wonderful to see collective management expanding and developing for audiovisual creators in these markets. And finally, we are very happy to see the launch of EMRA, a new non-profit society in the United Arab Emirates. This is a remarkable achievement and a milestone for this region. As some of you will know, for many years, there were numerous efforts to set up a non-profit collective management entity in the UAE. It's a small market, but it's a market with a huge potential. So it's great to see this finally happen. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank SASEM in particular for a lot of work that they put into this project. We asked you, the General Assembly, to empower the Board of Directors to make a final decision on admitting this new society, EMRA, to empower the board to make that decision, because the application could not be finalized in time for this General Assembly, but we also didn't want them to have to wait another year until the General Assembly meets again. And I was glad to see that the General Assembly approved this recommendation and empowered the Board of Directors to take the decision at the last meeting of this year. CISAC also continues to support member societies with lobbying and advocacy at international, regional, and national levels. In addition to artificial intelligence that I mentioned, we also have dedicated projects for specific repertoires. In the audiovisual repertoire, our main focus has been to increase rights protection for screenwriters and directors. And also, for the first time in April this year, CISAC co-organized, together with SAA and FESAL, a big event at the WIPO Standing Committee on Copyright to call for a new legal and economic study on the right of remuneration of audiovisual creators. We are also progressing in our campaign for the visual artists' resale right. We have supported lobbying in Canada, Japan, Chile, in many countries in Africa. And I would like to say that we were very happy to see that in the last 12 months, 2 important markets that we've been active in, New Zealand and Korea, have both now adopted the resale right for visual artists. And that's fantastic news, both for our societies and of course for the visual artists in those countries. Now, in a couple of minutes, we will announce the new board of directors that will lead us into what next year will be the centenary year for CISAC. And before we reveal the names and the results of the voting, I would like to say a few words about the board. And first, I would like to thank everyone who submitted their candidacy for the board. I would also like to thank the outgoing boards and all of the board members for an excellent term where we truly achieved a lot. That board was mentioned by Marcelo. That board that is finishing its term today was appointed during the pandemic in 2022. And since then, it had many achievements. It successfully steered CISAC through the pandemic years. It implemented an extensive review of CISAC's services and strategy. It approved the transfer of CISNET to CISAC and the plan to develop a new CISNET. It oversaw the expansion of the ISWC identifier, and it was very active on artificial intelligence. It also did many other things. I think that was a very intense and very active term for this CISAC board. With the appointment of a new board, we will also have to appoint a new chair. The outgoing chair, Marcelo, finishes 2 consecutive terms and 6 years in total in this role. 6 years is the maximum that the chairman of the CISAC board can serve. So I would like to dedicate a few words to Marcelo. You know, they say there are 3 types of people. People who make things happen, people who watch things happen, and people who ask what happened. Marcelo is the ultimate example for someone from the first group. He's one of those who definitely makes things happen. Quietly, diplomatically, always in a humble way, always in a friendly approach. Marcelo can move mountains, build bridges, and bring people together. I owe Marcelo a special thanks and gratitude. He helped steer and guide CISAC through muddy waters during the long pandemic years. He helped to conclude the discussions around the transfer of CISNET from FastTrack to CISAC when he himself was in a difficult position, being both a FastTrack and CISAC board member. He was always available for honest advice and wise words. He always knew very skillfully when to step in and when to take a step back. And he spent many hours with me working behind the scenes to make sure that the show goes on. I'm grateful to you, Marcelo, for all you've done and for all your support in the last 6 years. And I think that not only myself, but the whole community owes you a great deal for your dedication and contribution to CISAC. Thank you. I would like to mention one other person, my good friend, Javier Gutierrez. Javier was one of the first persons and the first board members that I got to know after joining CISAC. And he has been a board member since 2004. So over more than 20 years, he represented the interests of visual arts societies on the CISAC board and dedicated many hours and a lot of energy towards this important task. And while I'm sure that he will continue to be active in CISAC, Javier took the honorable decision to step down from the board and from the elections this year and to open up the door for other visual arts societies to take this position. So I would like to take this opportunity and thank you, Javier, for your remarkable contribution to CISAC's work and for the unwavering support that you gave to me, to my team, and to the community of visual arts societies over so many years. And so, before concluding, I would like to say a big thank you to our president, Björn Ulvaeus. You heard him. Björn has been spending so much energy, and he has been so dedicated to us. It's hard to describe how much he has been investing in supporting us, in lobbying with us, in doing whatever he can to make CISAC visible and get attention from decision makers. I would like to thank him from here. I would also like to thank the 4 vice presidents of CISAC. I would like to thank my brilliant team members from the headquarters in Paris and the regional offices. Many of them are here today. And thank you, all of you, our members, those who are here, those who watch online. I truly appreciate your continued support. We've prepared a great General Assembly for you. I hope you will enjoy it. Thank you.